Beep, 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 beep. All that's new from the Chester News Arse. Hello. Look, it's like Hollywood. I've got the glow going on, right? Have a glow. I will have a glow, thank you. Right, 2 videos in a day. See? I keep doing this and I'm boring you, but something's come up that's too important not to deal with. I'm going to need you to share this video as much as you possibly can, because what we've got here is a very important piece of work, which has been published in the British Medical Journal. And it is in relation to, links in the doobry as usual, in relation to school-based mindfulness training. Here we go. Right, so subscribe before you do anything else. Copy the damn link and get it out on Twitter and Facebook and everywhere else you can, wherever it has to go, all right? Because I think this is a big thing. I could be wrong. I'm sure my psychology warrior teachers will tell me if I'm wrong. But we'll have a go at it at any rate, shall we? Or you can support me on PayPal as well. It's in the link. PayPal, Patreon, all sorts of ways that you can get to me now that people have been asking for different ways to do it. And also, if you want to become a warrior teacher, details as usual downstairs. Let's get that out of the way. It's all in the description, or as I like to call it to upset the Americans, the doobrys. Hello, America. So let's go. What have we got? BMJ Journal. This is fascinating, right? Absolutely fascinating, particularly to me. Right? Because of a few things I've said over the last few videos that I've done. So it's a school-based mindfulness training in early adolescence. What works for whom and how in the Myriad trial. So this is in, it's about child and adolescent mental health. It's quite a long document, but you know, so it's worth having a look at so that you understand it. Numerous people have been involved in the production of it. And so let's just go quickly through some of the main points here that I've seen so far in my readings. The background, okay? This was, just to give a heads up to Professor William Kuken, forgive me William if I got that wrong, University of Oxford Department of Psychiatry, which I find interesting, yep. And in the abstract, the background of this is preventing mental health problems in early adolescence is a priority. School-based mindfulness training is an approach with mixed evidence. First things first, right? I don't necessarily think that this mental health problem helps. Mental health problems, what does that even mean? You're either mentally ill or you're not. Right, let's start drawing a line there, because that's where the medicalisation begins, and this is what I think the problem is. You'll remember the other day that I said this is an intellectual problem, not a mental one. It's intellectually a problem. So what they've said is, right, that this universal school-based mindfulness training, or SPMT, is no longer recommended in the format that it currently is for early adolescence. Thank God, right? It's a weakening idea. Right? It's a weakening idea. So what they've said is, it's not recommended in this format, but future research should explore socio-emotional learning programs. Right? There is no such thing. I'm fed up with this now. Really, I am. All right? Okay, I am. Everything that you teach people is intellectual, even if it's about understanding socio-emotional symptoms. If you're teaching somebody, for example, about compassion in the NHS, which I've been doing, which is terribly fascinating, great people, fantastic people working there at the NHS, it's an absolutely intellectual pursuit. It's got nothing to do with how you feel, and it's got nothing to do with mental health. It's everything to do with intellectual ability. Intellectual ability. So future research should explore socio-emotional learning programs adapted to the unique needs of young people. Young people don't have unique needs, right? Just teach them. There might be the odd one, but we'll deal with them. Stop making everybody the same. School mindfulness training, preventive medicine, mental health, adolescence, process evaluation, moderation, implementation, and mediation. That's what they're saying here, that it should explore. I mean, I'm not with this because I'm a teacher and I'm not a psychiatrist, a psychologist, or a counsellor. And I'm saying that we are making something that somebody needs to learn, often with tough lessons, into a mental health issue, which it is not. I think what we have is a mental health sales drive. And this goes some way to proving me right, okay? Then there's various things about, you know, all the documents that are in there are down in the doobries. You can actually have a look at the whole lot. It's a very comprehensive and very important study. And what it does is, it suggests that there are no effects from doing it. None. In fact, it might be exactly the opposite. Sound familiar? Not saying what it was going to do, right? So they asked the question, does it work? And it looks to me like they've come back with the answer no. It doesn't actually. It might do the exact opposite of what we think it does. The study includes consideration of theoretically driven potential moderators, implementation factors, and mediators of a universal SBMT, school-based mindfulness training program. it suggests iatrogenic effects in those with mental health difficulties. Right? Iatrogenic effects. Now, I use this word a lot because, you know, the whole gender identity thing is iatrogenic. Iatrogenic means what you think is solving the problem is causing the harm. It's a loop. Yep, it's a loop. So what they're saying is here that this mindfulness and executive functioning skills are associated with resilience. This program does not teach those skills. And the reason that this program does not teach these skills is because it's in the domain of the emotional and mental health when it should be led by the domain of intellectual observation, which is cold, calculating, and has got nothing to do with how you feel. Right? It's about making people grow up. It says here, mental health problems commonly have their first onset in adolescence. Define problems. What do you mean problems? What, won't do as they're told? Think they're the wrong sex? Most of these are intellectual problems. Right? So we've got to be very careful before we start labelling everything as a mental health problem. It doesn't mean anything. It says here, this is a period of heightened vulnerability associated with... What? Right, so let's start. You know, this is the background, mind. I'm not criticising the people. I'm saying this is the background. Vulnerability associated with reduced attentional, emotional and behavioural regulation. You know what the answer to most of them is? If they want to, you know, have a better attentional, emotional and behavioural regulation? Try harder. That's it. There was none of this when I was younger, and there was none of it 10 or 15 years ago. This is the encroachment of the medical industrial complex, just in a different arena. There is a large body of work developing programs for adolescents to learn these self-regulation skills as a way to reduce risks of mental ill health and promote well-being. Yeah, this is cobblers, right? And I'll tell you why it's cobblers, okay? They're supposed to be awkward at that age. You know why they're supposed to be awkward at that age? Because you're not supposed to like them very much and just wish they'd go away, which is what most young people should do, and the quicker the better. Because if they don't go away, they can't come back and appreciate you. That's why they're vile. Just go and do your own thing. You're vile. You know, they are mostly vile, horrible things they can be when at that age. Now, what it says is that these self-regulation skills can reduce risk of mental ill health. I mean, mental illness is a particular thing. We know what it is. It has a definition. And it can also promote well-being. I don't even know what well-being means anymore. I'm fed up with it now. Well-being. Well, you're going to wander along thinking you're going to be happy all the time. Never mind about your well-being. Take on some damn responsibility. I don't care if you're 13 or if you're 30. Take on some damn responsibility. Build something with your life. Some of us did that. So they put together a model which looks very good on how one such program is most likely to be effective. The model has potential moderators, so the wider school context, characteristic of the school, the teachers and students, the amount of mindfulness practice, and mediators. That should probably say meditators. So you got right. This isn't going to make me popular with the psych crowd, is it? And it was called Myriad, My Resilience in Adolescence. It was a customised, controlled trial. And the trial used a very large number of individuals across 84 schools. It began in 2016 and included 8,376 adolescents. The three primary outcomes were risk of depression, social, emotional, behaviour functioning, and well-being. That was the outcomes. Unfortunately, that wasn't what they saw. This is going to need a lot of analysis, and I imagine that there'll be greater minds than mine will be all over it. But my initial reaction from reading this 21-page document, because I don't have access to the whole thing, I'm not in that kind of sphere, is that what we are seeing is this emphasis on emotion over thought is damaging children. And it is my belief that it is also damaging adolescents. When I'm doing my training, not just adolescents, adults as well. When I'm doing my training, which I've been doing some stuff with various folk, you know when somebody says something like it is? You know? You don't have to be a gibber and wreck, and it's not okay to empty your emotional bowels in public. Right? It's not okay, so don't do it. Have some self-discipline. And secondly, when it comes to your emotions, let them in the front door, let them in the back door, just don't sit down and have lunch with them. Right? We all have them. They're vital to our understanding of ourselves and other human beings. But that doesn't mean to say that our emotions are there to make emotional connections. They're not. The vast majority of what we do is collaborative, and it is with different people across different domains, and your interest should be intellectual. Because the minute you start feeding into this bullcrap, you get, in my lived experience, right, which is just, in my opinion, which brings nothing to the party if it isn't something that's got some philosophical resonance. that is in fact taking in multiple fields across multiple dimensions across time. Otherwise, there's no point. Right? I'm not interested in your lived experience. That's what most of this is. Mindful. You're going to sit there and, hug a tree, tickle a rabbit, all that sort of stuff. Fine, do that, right? But don't think for 1 second that that's going to help us get us out of the mess we're in now, all right? Yes, there are people who are terribly ill and need help. They are mentally ill, just like if you've got something wrong with you, then you're physically ill. They are mentally ill. What we do need to do is to stop talking about mental health, right? It's not a thing, right? It's not a thing until it's a thing, right? Can you have too much and you feel like you're going right? Yes. Go talk to your mates and have a drink. Go and have a cup of coffee. Go walk at the park, right? This is all what mindfulness is actually about, isn't it? It's about saying, here's some things that you should do, which if you're a human, you should already be doing. It's more behaviorism, right? And remember, the behaviorist orientation to learning is how things are going, right? Nudge, 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 nudge. What did they think was going to happen when they used this nudge nonsense to get people to behave the way they wanted them to? Gosh, oh my, humans, when treated like they're little cocoon creatures that need care and attention and mindfulness, will suddenly find themselves mentally ill because they've been barraged by nonsense. Nonsense, which is untrue. We need a serious rethink here, people. It's time for people in education to say to the people in psychology and counselling, your day in the sun is over. Because what we need to do now is draw a fine line between what is an intellectual issue and what is a mentally ill health issue. Not a mental health issue. Get that gone, right? You're either mentally ill or you're capable. That's the starting point. Because otherwise we weaken everyone. And I think this nice little number here, although of course I could be wrong, proves me right. So go on, Twitter, do your thing, take me down, destroy me intellectually, leave me lying sundered and bleeding. Because I genuinely think if we can see a rise in an absolute shaming of people who do not engage intellectually at whatever level they engage, no matter how small, where are we going to go from here? Where are we going to go from here? So yes, it is. Pick yourself up, dust yourself down, start all over again. What else is there? Stop mollycoddling people. Stop treating people like they're snowflakes. Start treating them for what they are. Extraordinary beings that have got us so damn far. Because if you don't think the thinking that thinks we're not isn't the same as the thinking that's lopping off their tits and boobs, or the thinking that thinks there's racism and everything, or the thinking that thinks, you can be a man when you're a woman. If you don't think they're connected to this, then you're living in cloud cuckoo land, because they are. They are connected. It's all about the behaviourist model of education. And I spoke about that before. Anyway, that's enough. Buxton. I'm going to Buxton. I'm so excited. I'm going to see Claire Fox and Iona Italia and various other persons of great repute. And I will be enjoying myself wonderfully because it's a beautiful little city. So I've got to go and teach now. Oh, my life. And then I'm going to go to Buxton. So there'll be videos as well so you can see me in action. I'm talking about jokes. Are jokes appropriate? Is it going to be funny? Well, so we'll have to see. I'll put the link to Buxton in the thing downstairs. Other than that, look, have a fab day. And I'll see you when I get back. I might do one while I'm there. Let's see who I can find to interview. I might tap up Claire Fox and see if she'll speak to me. We'll see, all right? Okay, so great. Have a fabulous day, all of you. Keep going. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Bye.